Okay, this is a probability question, and we can see that Denzel and Sherry might each buy popcorn. We've got the probability that Denzel will buy popcorn, and then we've got the probability that Sherry will buy popcorn if Denzel buys popcorn. So that means that this is a conditional probability, okay, and there's a big hint. If it's conditional probability, this is likely to be true anyway, but it tells us to use a tree diagram. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be the traditional type. I think we've only got two things that could happen first off. Okay, and then we're going to have two things that could happen following on from that. Now you will have worked examples of things like this. Okay, remember what we write on the branches of the tree, these will be things, these will be probabilities, and what we label here is the event. So this will be something happening, and this will be that same event not happening, so it'll probably have a dashed on it. Okay, and when we have another event happening or not happening for these. So we put for these dots, we put the event happening or the same dot with a same event with a dashed on it, and we put the probabilities on the branches of the tree, and then we can multiply the probabilities along the branches to find 4 probabilities at the end of the tree, as we always do. And if you do that the way that I would, then this first one will give you the probability of D and C both happening. Okay, that's how I'd set it up. So if you've worked that out, then you've already answered A part 1, because that's the probability they both buy popcorn. Then we want the probability that neither buys popcorn. That will be one of the other routes through the tree. And then exactly one of them buys popcorn. That means that one does and the other doesn't, but there are going to be 2 different routes through your tree that will give you that. So you need to take 2 of the answers you've got from your tree and add those together to get your answer to A3. So that should be straightforward. Now then in part B we've got a third person. So you could actually extend your tree diagram, but it's going to get very, very messy. So for the events we've got to consider, okay, the first one is that all 3 buy popcorn, and the second one is that the first 2 people buy popcorn, well, 2 of them buy popcorn, but Denzel does not. Denzel's actually one of the original people. So the place to start is with the answers, the outcomes from your tree diagram. It may even actually be your answers to part A you want. You're going to have to think about Denzel and Sherry first. Now for the first one, you need to think about for all 3 to buy popcorn, you need the event that both Denzel and Sherry buy popcorn, which I think you've already got the probability of. And then you need to think, okay, if that's happened, okay, if both Denzel and Sherry buy popcorn, okay, then here's the probability that Sohaib also buys popcorn. So we're going to have, for the first way, for part 1, okay, we're going to have a probability, which is the probability that C and D both buy popcorn. And then we want the probability that Sohail now buys popcorn, knowing that both of the first 2 did. So I think that's this number here. But then for part 2, okay, again we need to start with what C and D do. But this time, Cherie buys popcorn, Denzel does not buy popcorn, so we need C and D dashed here. Okay, now that will be, that's not the bottom of a fraction, this is just a slot that you're going to put a probability into. Okay, so we're going to do this probability times something else. So this probability we need, the probability of C and D dashed I should say, is going to be one of the outcomes from this tree, and we need to multiply that by the probability that Sohaib now buys popcorn, knowing that Cherie did but Denzel didn't. And the other probability we've got here is there's 0.25 if exactly one of Denzel and Sherry buys popcorn. So that's a big hint about what we need to do in this part. So part B is all about selecting the correct probabilities to multiply using the fact that these are both conditional probabilities. I hope that outline has helped.